Have you ever thought it would be cool to play the piano on your guitar? Or make your guitar sound like a banjo? Today we're going to talk about this innovative smart guitar called the AeroBand Guitar on Song Design. Hey guys, what's up? We're going to talk about this amazing guitar called the AeroBand Guitar. I'm going to tell you some features about it, some things that I like, some things that I don't like. Let me explain what it is first. AeroBand is a company that wants to revolutionize how we play instruments, how we learn instruments, how we practice. I think ultimately they just want to make people smile and enjoy the process of playing instruments. And after playing around with it for a few days now, I've realized this is just a fun product. It's something I want to show off to people. So I'm going to show you a lot of those features today. It's going to be really exciting. So let's get started. And please be sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thank you. All right. So after you take the guitar out of the box, it's pretty much ready to go. So let's look at the guitar itself. The first thing is on the head, there are 3 buttons. By default, if you push this one, it'll tune up. So it'll put a capo on your guitar and the other one will tune down 1/2 step. So it's just a plus 1/2 step up or a plus 1/2 step down. The middle button will change the sound of your guitar to electric guitar, banjo, piano, all of that kind of stuff, and it just toggles through. So the top of the neck has visuals, so every time you change the sound, a different color appears on the top of the neck, so that way you know what you're doing. And then on top of the body of the guitar, you have the headphone jack. Plug in any headphones and hear what you're doing. And here you can plug a microphone into the guitar and sing out of it so that your guitar playing and microphone are both coming out of the speaker. This first knob here is for the drum loop. So if you turn it up and down, it'll turn up and down the drum loop. And if you press it, it will start the drum loop. And then this second knob is the volume knob. So just everything that is coming out of the speaker, you can turn up and down. And if you press it for 2 seconds, it will turn the guitar on. So the bottom part of the body of the guitar looks like this. There is a USB-C port that you can use to charge the AeroBand, and you can also use it to plug into your computer as a MIDI controller, which we will talk about later. And there's an instrument cable output. You can plug from this into an amplifier or into a soundboard to be able to hear the sounds that are coming out of the AeroBand guitar, just like the banjo and the piano and all of that. And then you have the pegs for the guitar strap, just like a traditional guitar. On the back of the guitar, you have a button that if you press, you can detach the neck of the guitar. And it's very easy to disassemble. And once you turn the guitar on, it's ready to connect to the app by Bluetooth, which we're going to talk about now. So you got to download the AeroBand app. I'm going to get into some of the nuts and bolts of this app. So if you're not interested in how to use the app, you just want to get to the guitar playing, I will put timestamps in the video so you can just click and see me playing with all the features. All right, so before you start playing, there are a few features that are off by default that you probably want to turn on. The first thing is the hammer-on pull-off option. If you want to make sure that when you go from an open string to a non-open string, I don't know what you're going to want to turn this on. Otherwise, whenever you try to hammer on, it just makes no sound. You want to probably hear when you slide up the neck to be able to hear the fret noise, like there's. Otherwise, it sounds very unnatural When you put any pressure on the mute bar, it will sound like you're muting the strings a little bit. It sounds a lot better a lot of times, but sometimes you may not want that because you might accidentally hit it, and that's not the vibe you're going for. So make sure that you select what you want there. So the sensitivity is very key to make sure to dial that in. Sometimes you'll just barely touch a string and it'll sound like you just hit the string, but sometimes you may want to turn the sensitivity up. So make sure to adjust those settings to your liking. String loudness, by default, it's going to have your lower strings a little bit louder and your higher strings a little bit softer. So speaker mode is set to auto, and you can do always on. Whenever you plug a headphone in, the speaker is going to turn off. And so that's probably what you're going to want, but those options are available for you. Light brightness on the guitar, so it's on high by default. So if you're like in a dark room or something and it's just like too bright for you, you can turn that to medium or to off. Guitar prompt tone. So let's get out of settings. Here's your guitar tone. So you can change to whatever instrument you want to sound like. There's acoustic, finger picking. There's acoustic pick. Electric guitar, country music. There's electric guitar, pop music. Nylon string, classical guitar. Piano. Bass guitar. Banjo. And finally, the electric piano, but as I like to call it, the Zach Morris sound.
Kelly, what happened? I thought you loved me.
I do love you, Zach. It wasn't supposed to be this way. Not for us.
If you go up here to tone configuration in the right top corner and you click it, you actually have a couple other sounds, and then there's some that are coming soon. So we have the electric blues. The electric overdrive. And the electric distortion. So if you want to, instead of the ones that are already in there, if you wanted to change it, you could just click and drag. So now I have electric overdrive after my electric country instead of my electric pop. So, and you can do that with any of these. I'm going to do electric distortion. All right, so that's it for the tones. You can use simple chords by clicking here. If you want to use that, you got to come into settings and you got to turn off technique here and then go back and then click simplify left hand. In order to use this, you got to make sure just to click this. Easy chords. Scores with melody type passages cannot be performed in touch play mode. So what I think that means is that you can't play lead lines. You can only play chords. So we have the basic settings for the easy chord. And as you can see, a lot of the common chords that you might play are here in the basic tab. Now, if you click on each chord, you can change it to whatever chord you want. So if you wanted to do any variation of a C, you can do that in here, and the same with any of these. So the way you do it is you press down any string on the fret so the C is the first fret, D is the second, all the way to the 7th. Anything past the 7th, it won't play anything. So here in the Advanced tab, as you can see, the bottom 3 strings, if you press the first fret of any of those bottom 3 strings, you'll hit a C. And if you press any of the strings in the top, the lower 3 notes of the first fret, you will get a C minor. So this is for just beginners or somebody who just wants to like play a song and sound good without having to remember the chord shapes. So I'm going to turn this off. So this also has a game feature to learn how to play guitar better. If you click songs, I'm going to come down and select riff in the end. So the capo's required for this, a capo of -1. So it's just like Guitar Hero. We can go down to tutorials, which, I mean, this just takes you through a lot of cool stuff. You can go through these beginner techniques and it'll teach you how to play guitar. So the drum loop, this is something that you can just do by default without having to get into the app. But the app gives you a lot more options here. If you come in here, you can change the time signature to 6/8 or 3/4. And you have all of these other options. So if you want to do like a rock, then here's a bunch of different ones. Rock 01. Here's rock 02. Rock 03. And there it gives you the BPM. So you can plug your microphone in and have a drum beat and play the guitar. And you can have like a one-man band, like a little street performer. So here in the app, you can choose which drum set you want to use, but you can also do it on the guitar itself. Also here is the BPM, which you can change on the guitar itself also. But here it looks like you can tap, so you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and then you can just adjust it to whatever you want it to be. One thing that's very nice with this guitar is you never have to tune it. But if you want to do different tunings because different songs will call for it, you have a lot of options. So in order to access it, you go into special tuning. And this is the tuning for standard. So the top string, the 6th string, is E, A, D, G, B, E, down to the 1st string. Click standard here. You can go into all of these special tunings, kind of small, but you can see underneath each title, it gives you the tunings, starting with the 6th string. Then you come down to custom tuning, which I've already played with, as you can see. So there are a lot of songs that I enjoy that have alternate tunings. The banjo tuning I put in here. I wish it was kind of in the official configuration because we have a banjo sound. But anyway, if you wanted to make a new tuning here, you just push the plus button here and you type in a name for it. So I'm just going to put bluegrass. And then you can customize whatever you want here. I'm going to push save. And then you have to press back and then back again to get back to the home screen. Next, I'm going to plug the guitar into my computer and open up Reaper, which is my digital audio workstation of choice, and I'm going to show you some really cool features. All right, so I'm going to plug the AeroBand into here. I have a USB-C cable. There's one included with your AeroBand guitar, but that's all it is. You just make sure it's USB-C and you plug it in there, and then plug the other end into any open USB port on your computer. And then after that, you just turn it on by holding down this button here for 2 seconds. All right, I'm here in Reaper, and I need to first set up my MIDI controller. I have the AeroBand plugged into my computer. I'm going to go up here to Options, down to Preferences. Here are all my MIDI options. I have my keyboard set up already here. It's not plugged in. It is detecting the AeroBand MIDI because I plugged it in, so I'm going to double click. I'm going to select Enable Input from this device. I'm going to select Include Input from this device in all MIDI inputs. So whenever I select that I want the input to be all MIDI inputs, this will be included. So I'm just going to keep it like this and push OK. I'm going to push the plus button here to add a track. And then I am going to arm it and then input MIDI. There's my AeroBand. I'm going to just select the AeroBand MIDI here, and I'm going to call this AeroBand. I'm just going to push record and see what happens. So now we have these MIDI notes here in Reaper. What do you do with it? Because when you play it back, it's not going to play anything. All it is a roadmap for the notes that we want Reaper to play, but it doesn't have any sound assigned to it. So I'm going to explore how to work with MIDI in the near future. So subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for that. But right now we're going to assign a virtual instrument to our MIDI track so that we can hear what we're playing. I'm just going to real quick show you. You can double click in Reaper. So here in the MIDI viewer, you can play with each individual note. You can move them up and down and actually change the note. Or you can move them side to side to fix the timing. You can add more notes. You can subtract notes. You can lay this on top of any other tracks if you have drums, if you have live guitar, things like that. But you're not going to make it sound like the AeroBand unless you do this. I'm going to plug in this. It's an instrument cable. You can get them anywhere. You can get them on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description, but I'm plugging it into my Focusrite Scarlett Solo, and my Solo is going into my computer, so I'll be able to record whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug this in right there. There you go. Hope you can see. So I'm going to come back into Reaper here. I'm going to select the plus button. I'm going to push the record button, and I'm going to call it Aero Analog. All right. Input 1 is my microphone. Input 2 is the guitar. I'm going to do the electric pop sound. We're just going to go for it here. Put a little banjo in there, just. Boom! I'm going to save all, and that's it. You can continue to lay on tracks, or you can just be done with it. All right, so I think that's it. Let me give you some really quick highlights just to make sure that we covered everything. First thing is you got 9 sounds on the board, and you got extras that you can replace with those sounds. So you have, I think, 12 sounds currently right now. You never have to tune this guitar. You can also use special tunings if you want to. This works as a MIDI controller, which is very cool, which is what I showed you in Reaper. But you also have the option of making it an analog instrument where you can just plug an instrument cable into it and record whatever sounds that you hear. So there's a built-in 30-watt speaker. You have the option to plug a microphone in and sing through that microphone out of that 30-watt speaker. You can play with drum loops that are in there, and it's also detachable, so you can travel with it very easily, and you can put it in a 21-inch case that they sell to make it easy to carry. This also has interactive lessons and real-time feedback with the games and the videos. Now, a few things that it can definitely improve on. These things are not deal breakers at all, but I would love to see improvements in the future. First thing is you can't change the home screen to the elements that you want quick access to. Also, another con is you can't mute the strings with your left hand, which there are a lot of chord shapes where you have to mute one or two strings in order for the chord to sound right. I also wish the app didn't have to be in landscape mode all the time. I wish you could use it by doing this. It's a little rough to like get in and out of the tuning screen and get back home. And I also would like a feature to tune a string higher than it should be, like maybe the 6th string, the low string. If you can tune it to the high E, that would be kind of cool. I really wish there was a 12-string guitar option. I was really hoping for something like that. If the hammer on and pull off could be a little bit more smooth, that would be awesome. You know, this is expected, obviously, but there's an unnatural sound at times. But for the most part, it sounds really nice and real. So I want to give AeroBand props for that. I think that's all that I have to say about the AeroBand guitar.
That's all I have to say about that.
It's a lot of fun. I had fun playing with it the last few days. Again, it's well made, very well constructed, and it's a fairly good price for what it does. And so I'm hoping to discover more features in the future that I can put on my YouTube channel and tell you all about. So in that instance, please subscribe to my channel and like this video, comment on it if you have anything you want me to elaborate on, and we will see you next time.